I'd like to let you know that there is one more fireside chat happening here on this stage, and I'd like to welcome on stage Ahmad Piraiee, Director of Startup Grind Warsaw, and Michael Chaffe, Vice President of Wolf Summit, and it will be about Startup Grind, hosting events in the age of coronavirus.
Thanks, guys. Where do you want me to sit?
We're going to sit here and here. So. Can we have one more microphone? Good evening, everyone.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for being with us for the whole 2 days. Great to see you all in the crowd, and looking forward to our gala dinner later.
We have a packed audience. So for guys who cannot see the audience, for guys who can see the audience, we have social distancing. Mike, thank you. 3 days?
3 very long days, indeed.
Back to back.
Yep, this might be the final evening event tonight, so looking forward to our fireside chat so we can present the winner and get to it.
Good. So at Startup Grind, we usually had face-to-face meetings every month. You guys have twice a month events. We got hit because our venue was closed. We couldn't bring the audience. Nobody wanted to pay online. You guys had it 10 times worse. So how did you cope with it? And how did you finally manage to, pull 3 days of successful speeches and startup competition?
Yeah, so essentially, as most of you probably know, we had to forced into the position of flipping to a virtual event at very short notice back in March. I remember when we were shortlisting all of the event platforms, there was a number that we scrutinized and, did some reviews on. Hopin was the actual last one that had, so Johnny, the founder of Hopin, he only had availability in his calendar at 9 p.m. on a Saturday night. So we had 8 days to go. My whole team are screaming at me, Mike, we need to go with this platform, we need to go with this platform. I said, spokojnie, that's relax in Polish. And I said, just chill out, we need to just wait and see Hopin. I've heard great things about it from friends in the UK in the event industry. We waited till 9 o'clock on the Saturday night. Literally 5 minutes after the demo ended, I said to everybody, look, I don't care what we need to do, we're using this platform. And it proved to be, in fact, it's a defining reason that we're still in the game as an events business, thanks to the collaboration with Hopin. After the event, Johnny came back to me and said, look, guys, damn impressive how you pulled that off in 8 days with such high AV support. Would you like to service some of our clients that are coming to Hopin? So sure, great, opportunity presented itself, grabbed it with both hands, and since then we've hosted almost 20 events for ourselves and third parties, so yeah.
There is this funny GIF. It just shows inside the ticket machine there is a guy who takes something from this side and put it on the other side. So one of the things that we also have is that behind this TV, it's not just electronics, so there are people behind that they basically stitch all of these pieces together. So when you say it's all about Hopin, I just want to say also thanks to the AV team, guys. Also, please don't cut my microphone. And also for the volunteers that basically just put it on that side, and the whole core team.
Absolutely. I mean, it all looks very slick and professional on the front end, but do not look behind the curtain because it's quite a different picture, I can assure you.
So how did you really manage to, first of all, make it so international, and at the same time, with all the social distancing and traveling restrictions and everything, finally manage to, at least try to make the best out of it in the current situation?
Yeah, so it's actually, as terrible as COVID has been for everybody worldwide, it's actually accelerated our main objectives when we took over the Wolf Summit. So we bought the conference last year from the amazing founders who built the brand into what it is today, with the whole intention of really internationalizing the event. So in my opinion, the ecosystem of Central and Eastern Europe needs to learn from the international ecosystem of startups, as well as draw in private capital from all across the world. So today we've had guests from as far as Toronto, Shanghai, Singapore, Australia. So COVID has accelerated the process of internationalizing the event. And obviously, that's not really a bragging right because of the disaster of COVID, but it's just a fact that it's allowed us to accomplish in 6 months what would have taken probably 3 years.
We're also right now in the Palace of Culture. I mean, there's always a space for a lot of other, let's just say, opportunities and everything. How do you really see the future of event organization? Because facilities are always going to stay the same, and for the foreseeable future, situation is not also going to change. So how do you really feel the event organizers have to cope themselves and then try to make the best out of the situation?
So, I mean, my prediction for the future events is that, it's a very, very competitive space now. The ones that are going to go forward, you've got to look towards partnerships and joint ventures. For example, today we hosted the Axel Point Axel Up Demo Day. So, we also have CEE Business Media, both of which had their own private stage here at the Palace and also on Hopping. So it's time to get rid of your ego. Don't be hard-headed. You've got to start making joint ventures with people. That's, in my opinion, that's the future of the event space.
Again, 3 days, that's a lot, but which part do you think is the hardest part?
The worst part for me of the event is the 2 weeks out. Any event organizer will tell you, people always make last-minute decisions. During COVID, they make super late-minute decisions. So the last 72 hours, we saw a flood of registration. The customer service inbox was going crazy. The team were on the edge of burnout, as was I. So, yeah, it's a very difficult process facilitating so many registrations at the last minute.
So what was the best part of it?
Well, I think the best part is probably going to be tonight.
I thought you want to say the karaoke, but...
Sorry?
I thought you want to say it was the karaoke part of that.
Oh, well, I heard there was a great cover version of the Beatles sang last night at the networking party, so...
So, did you decide about the next edition, when that is going to happen?
Yeah, so we're looking forward to March 24th and 25th. Now that as a team, we've hosted the hybrid model, I'm happy to say it's gone really successfully, and the whole team is amazed how smooth it went. So now we're comfortable in hosting a hybrid format. We're more than happy to go ahead with the March edition next year. That's assuming there's no disastrous situation with COVID.
What do you think about the quality of startups? Because of this internationalization that, let's just say, more countries right now have access to, let's just say, pitching online, and investors also interested in joining online. Was that somehow, somewhere, an idea that would somehow make your overall startup competition in a higher quality?
Yeah, so on that topic, we've actually had startups from 56 different countries over the last 2 days. We had the winner of the European Innovation Council COVID-themed pitching contest, Respinova from Israel. They've actually just pitched now. You would have seen them as part of the finalists. So for me, it's great because the ecosystem here will learn so much from their international counterparts, and you can see I think it's going to accelerate the development of Central and Eastern European startups.
So let's just put it into perspective. So the event is somehow a networking part, the speaking part, and the startup competition. We mainly, let's just say, talked about that part that is going to startups and the others. How about the networking part? Because a lot of people really always wanted to have these one-to-one meetings in the Wolf Summit, but this time, let's just say, due to the limitation of the number of the audience and everything, we had to limit it. So how was it?
Yeah, so I mean, the feedback that's been the main takeaway from the event is just how happy people are to finally get back to seeing each other face to face. Sat in front of your computer screen, working as well as going to virtual events. At the moment, it's the only option, but as things slowly change, I believe that hybrid models are going to start being more and more relevant. Because there is no replacement for a face-to-face networking evening or indeed across a table with each other. as a one-on-one meeting.
Do you think now that everything is going to be digital, so anybody from any location can somehow tune in, still it makes sense for events to venture out and then try to be more international? Like you can have a China edition or like a US edition of the Wolf Summit.
Yeah, so I mean, I think it's very important not to spread yourself too thinly. So I'm very bullish on the talent from Central and Eastern Europe. So what I want the Wolf Summit to be is the window into the region. So we've got great partners from Singapore. If I just mention GTR Ventures, for example, they're about to receive their financial license from the Monetary Authority of Singapore, and then they're going to apply for the Luxembourg to give them a European license. So their whole caveat is to leverage our, close relationship to bring, be a funnel between Central and Eastern Europe and Asia. So bring cash and, much needed private capital into the region and, really accelerate the development of all of this rising talent from the region.
So let's just say in the midst of pandemic, something around like 1,000 one-to-one matchmaking. That's a really big number. Do you think we can try to keep the same thing even post-pandemic? Do you think like we can try to somehow have those kind of, let's just say, numbers in the face-to-face? Or even if when the pandemic is going to be over, still we're just going to keep this in the, let's just say, online or hybrid version?
So I think once things go back to a semi-normal, there's going to be a real desire to go to huge events. I can see that can take, a lot of people will want to go to big Web Summit style events. But what will be the defining factor, in my humble opinion, is that the finance departments in the large corporates will realize that they're actually, virtual events will have advanced to such an extent that there's so much more value in terms of data insights, statistical reports, that the large event model is going to really struggle to bring in key sponsors. That's, my humble opinion.
Okay, great. So another thing that I also have to say is the collaboration with the partners and the sponsors. You basically have some people like Café that they were physically present and they were bringing their products, some accelerations, some big corporations and other places. How was the collaboration? Because some corporations somehow have restrictions of even attending the event. So how did you manage that?
Yeah, so it's a very good topic. So what we noticed back in March, we jumped straight from our first ever virtual event, and then we started doing a monthly spin-off as pitching contests. It was super, super hard to bring in sponsors during the first few months of, say, April and May. What we've noticed now is there's much more inclination on the sponsor side to purely sponsor the event as a digital participant. Indeed, probably 60-70% of our sponsors are not even here physically in Warsaw. So I think, as I said, that's going to be the direction that the partnerships and sponsorship arrangements are going to go for events.
One of the things that we also discussed is everybody's expectations are low, meaning like people are just saying thank you for just allowing us to finally like meet more people, because let's just say you did a very courageous job and then try to not organize it only online but rather in a hybrid way. But how do we have to find the middle way? How do we have to find it in a way that we will somehow, hopefully, would back into more face-to-face meetings, but at the same time try to keep this like a sense of internationalization back there?
Yeah, so I think it's important to really concentrate on curating a relevant agenda and a great guest list. So, as a startup investor matchmaking conference, I envisage us really having to go after top-tier VCs from, the UK, the States, Southeast Asia, etc. Bring them over to Warsaw, and then obviously, in turn, we can then charge a premium price for all participants, as we will have a really rock-star agenda of investors as well as speakers. So I believe that it's going to be smaller scale in-person events, and then broadcast across platforms such as Hopin to the global audience. And in fact, that's exactly what we've done over these past 2 days.
Great. So first of all, congratulations to you and all the team. 3 days of super hard work. Is there any one last word that you just want to say, just to wrap it up?
Yeah, and just to make it clear, Ahmed has been our agenda manager for this event, and he's done an absolutely fantastic job. It's been stressful at times, but the whole team really impressed with the caliber of speakers he's brought and his professionalism. So big kudos to Ahmed.
That was not supposed to be the last one, but thank you very much. And also thank you everybody who tuned in and the people that, managed to attend physically. And looking forward to seeing the next edition. Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.